So we're going to talk about financial freedom for technical professionals. So how many of you have heard the term financial freedom? Is anybody in here financially free? Keith? All right. So first, actually, before we get into that, let's give Keith, Fernie, Matt, and everybody else who put this thing together for us a big round of applause. This is literally one of the funnest events of the year, and I've been loving it ever since I've been a part of it the last few years, so thank you for that. All right, so I've helped a bunch of students, thousands of students around the world. They kind of grow their career, they earn certifications, and they make more money. And the more I get to know some of them, they say, well, I'm still struggling financially. I'd still like to make more money, right? And so I'm like, well, I know you just doubled your salary in the last year, so that's a pretty big jump. Like, what are we doing with double the salary? And even if it's 30% more, that's a pretty big jump. So I started to do some digging, and it led me to some pretty interesting stats. So the average American household with debt owes over $130,000. And this is from like the U.S. sources of debt and all that kind of good stuff. Now, the average household with a mortgage in the United States owes $172,000. Now, they owe more money, but they actually have an asset there. What?
You're not presenting.
Not projecting.
There you go.
All right, hey. You missed my picture. Come on. All right, we'll go back. There we go. Let's see. Go back. Back. There we go. Here's my picture. I'm here, though. All right. No, so the average American household with debt, if they have a mortgage, is over $172,000, right? And that seems like, oh, they owe more money. But they also have an asset there, right? And we're going to talk about what kind of asset. How many of you guys actually own a home? Good job. Almost everybody. How many of you own more than one home? Not enough of you. Okay, not enough. We're going to talk about that. One of the big things that kind of took this to heart and made me think I probably do need to do something with the program is 60% of Americans and Brits, don't know what it is about us, but we have less than $2,000 in our bank accounts. 60% of people have less than $2,000 in their bank account. That's pretty freaking scary if you think about it. So how many of you actually like money?
Terrible.
If you guys are not raising your hand, you're lying, okay? Plain and simple, we know who the liars are, 100%. We get money, look at this stuff, man, it's amazing. Ferraris, cars, boats, planes, all that. Sounds amazing to get, and you know what, you can't get there. But you gotta do it the right way, okay? How many of you guys seen Fight Club? Amazing freaking movie, right? One of my favorites of all times. And this famous philosopher, Tyler Durden, gave this, it's something about Bayo or anyway, I think it was Tyler Durden. The things you own end up owning you. And that's true. Because if you take that credit card and if you buy that watch that you really can't afford, then you get sucked into this thing called debt gravity. Okay? Because having a lot of debt actually is a lot like gravity. It holds you down. It keeps you from having a normal life. It keeps you from doing what you want to do in life. Okay, so the goal of financial freedom is to escape that debt gravity. Okay, and just like you guys all take the certification courses. You guys all learn about technology. We learn about the new tech and all that kind of stuff, and we all do a lot of that. But how many of you have ever taken a financial education course? Couple of you. Well, that's good. Was that in college? Was it just one? We just get a few days of something and it's like balance a checkbook, do this. But honestly, it's something we should really be keeping our mind on a lot more because in all honesty, if you're not, the world is going to be working against you. So some people's idea of financial freedom, like I said, escape debt, work less, maintain a lifestyle, have a normal life. And then there's a club called the Fire Club. Anybody here of fire? Awesome. 3 people. Financial independence, retire early. I would look that up. These are people that work together and they share information about debt and basically getting to enjoy a good life and not having to retire at 70. It's all about what can we do now and where can we put our money now to live a happy life and to not have to struggle with debt, right? So in order to kind of give you a sense of what that is, let's talk about how we do things today. How many of you work for a company? Is there anybody that owns their own business in here? Okay. So 99% of the world, they make money by working a set number of hours a week. That's our valuable, right? We've got so much hours during the week to work, and then we get a wage for that hour of work. And then that adds up over how many we've had during the week. We make, so for example, 40 hours a week, $20 an hour, $800 a week, $3,200 a month, about $40,000 a year. And that's it. So depending on where you live and what you're doing, that may be enough to live. It may not really be enough to live. So you have to change your stars, right? How many of you guys, and this is just a poll for me in this program, how many of you make 100K a year or better? That's awesome. That's quite a few of you, okay? That's no small thing, by the way. And if you're making 100K a year or better, I'm willing to bet it's probably the people with the houses and the couple with the multiple houses, right? Because you can do a lot with that. So my business partner, George Stefanik, says 9-to-5 mentality is a dream killer. Somebody else might have said it before him, but that's his take on the world. Accepting the status quo is also a dream killer. You got to do what you got to do to achieve your goals. It's just like people that say, well, I want to be a CCIE. Well, are you working towards it? Are you labbing every day? Are you doing what it takes to actually achieve the goal? Because if you're not, you're not going to get there. So here's a few options to consider, and this is really all there is. Other than inheritance. Anybody got a great inheritance coming down the pipe? Going to take care of everything? No? I somehow live on the other side of the family where all that happens, but hey, it's okay. Do it myself. So you got 3 options to change your situation if you're not happy with it, or if you're struggling with debt, or any of the things we're talking about. You can work more hours. Okay? That's one thing. How many of you have 2 jobs? Several of you. Okay? So I give up more time. I get a wage for that time, and I make a little bit more money. You also have additional skills. So learn new skills. If I learn new skills, the great thing about that is I make more money for the same amount of time. I don't have to work more time. So that seems like a pretty good way to go about things. And then there's investing. Okay, so work more hours, easy way to get more money in your pocket, especially if you're on the bottom. You can't really invest money unless you have something to start, right? So everybody's got to start somewhere. It may take taking a second job, getting a side contract or something like that, robbing a bank, any of those things, selling drugs. Place called Craigslist and Backpage, there's some pretty interesting opportunities there. I'm not saying I'm on it, and I'm just saying I've heard, okay? But bottom line with the whole working more hours is there's a finite amount of hours we can work in a day. It's limiting. So if all we're doing is this $20, $50, even $100 an hour, I'm capped in the amount of money I can make during that day, okay? Plus, if you're doing a lot of work and you're not really setting goals of changing that or getting better or adding more skills or anything like that, you're going to burn out pretty quick, okay? And that's a stressful life. I really like Sam's talk today because he was talking about the human impact of what we do, right? So not everybody should have to kill themselves to do well in the world. And we have a great community here with this wireless community. And so, just like you're able to come up to us and ask us about the new wireless tech or how something works or something you're struggling with, we should also be able to talk to each other about how we're doing on our plans to retire one day and stop the daily grind, right? So, additional skills. I pulled these up whenever I wrote this a few weeks ago. And as you see, there's a few engineering positions. So CCIE voice, $128,000 a year. And that actually pulled in about right. Okay, computer systems analyst, CCIE voice, about $150,000 a year. CCIE at another company, $94,000. And so some of this depends on location, where you're at, things like that. Keith did a survey for all the CWMP program. If you look at how much CWNEs make, 157 through 262? It's not bad. How many people's in that range? Very few, okay? How many people have a CWNE in here? I might not make the picture tomorrow, but yeah. So if you don't have that, and if you're just thinking like, hey, I'm just going to get in wireless and I like it, but you're not really trying to be the best at it, then you're selling yourself short. You're selling yourself short. You're going to be working more time. You're going to be spending more time working your life, and then you won't be able to retire as soon as you could should you get to the top of something, right? Being the best at it, okay? And there's plenty of resources to help you get there. I'm doing a quick plug on the wireless workbook thing we just released right there in the corner. So that's one way to help you kind of spin up if you don't have those certs. But the bonus benefit with this, whatever it is you're becoming smarter, okay? You're making the same time investment, but you're making more money, all right? So investing, if you have an extra dollar, here's what you don't realize. Whenever I get paid, and let's say I make $1,000, I could go buy the new dress, I could go buy the new shirt, go buy the new shoes. If I make more than that, I can go buy the new watch or whatever it is I want to buy. Or that same dollar could actually be used to make you $2. A lot of people don't realize that. Every dollar that comes into your hands, you've got an option. I could either spend it to buy something that may be short term, maybe I like it, but I could also invest it and have that money make me money, right? That's what investing is. Pretty cool concept. You're not working any hours whenever that happens, by the way, but you're making money, okay? Just be careful with stocks if you're not used to it. Real estate is a very solid investment. So for any of you that don't own a house, highly recommend getting one, okay? So some other creative income sources. Have you heard of a Roth IRA? A little bit. So if you're just starting out, if you are one of those people, because we said 60% of people have less than $2,000 in the bank account, so a lot of us are going to be starting off, from a pretty small amount. And that's completely understandable. You got to start somewhere. Roth IRAs, we prepay the taxes on it. So if you did get into an emergency, you could always go get that money out, and there's no tax on it. It's a pretty safe first investment if you don't have anything right now, okay? Begin with 3 months of what it takes you to live. So what does it take you to live? How many of you people know how much money it takes you to live each month? That's awesome. A lot of you do. That was a lot more than I was actually thinking it would be. Sometimes I don't know, to be honest, but it fluctuates. But just begin with 3 months of bills. If you don't have 3 months, and I like to say 6 months, but 3 months is a good start. Guys, I'm telling you, you're going to lose a ton of the weight we talk about with death gravity just by having 3 to 6 months of bills in the bank. Like, your stress in life will change. If you're living check to check and you instantly have, well, not instantly, but you work towards it, and you get 3 to 6 months of bills worth of money in the bank, it doesn't sound like a lot, but your stress about things is going to change. And you're also not going to feel so tied to whatever you're doing. Maybe you're working for a company you hate or a boss you hate. It's hard to go somewhere if you don't have any money to take care of that downtime, that transition time, right? So start with that. 401k. A lot of employers will match your contribution. That's other free money. Why not do that? Max that 100% out if you can, because you're going to have somebody else automatically giving you free money. All right, I'm getting told. This was a 90-minute speech. I'm putting it into 10, so we're going to have to speed up a little bit. All right. So there are people in this room, 100% that I know, that we actually make money when we sleep, every minute of the day. How do we do that? Already? Man, I spent like 2 days trying to get this into 10 minutes. All right, so investing in your sleep, compound interest, earned from previous work. There's a term called passive income. Anybody hear passive income? Right, free, easy money. There's nothing passive about it. You got to work your ass off to get it, but once you get it, then I'm making money no matter what, 24/7. So how can I do that? Easy way, one easy way, get into real estate investing. Okay, it doesn't take as much as you think. You have other people paying off the house for you, right? So that's a fantastic source. It's done wonders for me. And why get a mortgage? For savings account. So even though people had more debt having a mortgage, they also have less overall debt because the house has value. The longer you live in it, the more value it gains. Let's see what else I can get. I got a couple other big ones I want you to take away. Credit cards. How many of you call your credit card companies every 6 months and ask for either a credit limit increase or lower interest? Okay, two people. Do this today. Every 6 months, I've got it on a reminder. I call every credit card company that we have. I want a lower interest rate or a higher credit limit, one of the two. They both help. I'm not saying get the higher credit limit to go out and buy the new shoes or whatever it is you're going to buy. That's so it changes your debt to income ratio, right? So now I've got stronger credit scores. Also, if you have a lot of high interest credit cards, get a loan, pay them all off. That'll instantly give you a couple 100 points boost, okay? All right, so if you want to know more about any of this, since I'm running out of time, yeah, just come see me after this, I guess. One last thing, real quick, 1 minute. The last thing I want to tell you, what if I told you you could retire in 10 years, everybody in the room? Would you believe me? 10 years on your current salary. Would you believe me? There's a way. That way is living off 30% of your salary. Live off 30% of your salary, invest the 70%, you'll have enough to retire in 10 years. Simple math. So if you want to know more about this, come see me while I'm here. I'll be here all night. Hopefully some of it was helpful. Thanks.